I have a gift for you. My third book, The Intentional Design Year, is out, and I want to give you access to read it. To get the digital copy for 1 month for free, go to www.designsuitecourses.com/intentional. Make sure and do the www. Because for some reason, that's the only way it will work. Anyway, this will get you free access to read the book for an entire month. If you love it, you can always go to Amazon and get the whole book plus the prompt journal. Welcome to the Make and Design podcast. I'm Carina Gardner, and today we're going to talk about goal setting. Yes, it's the beginning of the year, and you've probably heard a ton about goal setting, but I just want to talk to you about how we can keep it extremely simple. I love setting goals, but I also feel like sometimes we write a whole bunch of goals and don't think about like timelines, planning, and all of that good stuff. So let's really simplify the process. So the first thing I like to do is divide it by category. There are lots of different categories you can use. Don't feel like you have to use mine, but in particular, I usually do one that's physical, spiritual, professional, and then family. So those are like kind of the four that I tend to do. I will kind of mix it up depending on the year and what I'm really working for. Because I already have my one word for the year, it was really simple to kind of come up with like, what are the things that will really accentuate and make this one word of the year work for me? And I know I haven't said what it is here. I've only said what it is on the Design Your Life podcast. So I'll probably in a few give you some episodes telling you a little bit more about my word for the year and the things that I'm doing. So, so like I just keep it simple by category. I might only have 1 or 2 goals in each of those categories, but I'm already considering, you guys know in October, I start thinking about like, what do I want my next year to look at? Like, what are things that would really make me feel like this year was cool, it was doing what I wanted it to do, that it was intentional. And I think that can be a really exciting thing, especially if your goals are really set up to help you and help you move forward, right? That's the whole point of a goal, right? Is to help you achieve some things that maybe you haven't achieved before, or maintain some things. Like, for example, I do Pilates probably 2 or 3 times a week, and I want to maintain that, right? One thing I'd love to add to that is pickleball. And so I don't know if I can fit in 3 days of Pilates and 2 or 3 days of pickleball. So I need to kind of think about that and figure that out. But it's just something I really want to do. Last year, I made for the first time ever like more like relationship goals. So I generally have some family goals, things that I want to do with our family. But last year was the first year, especially with both of my girls going to college and I only have one kiddo left at home, really trying to decide what kind of relationship goals I wanted with my husband. And so I put in there, I wanted to go on 3 trips just by ourselves. And they could be little short weekend trips, which is what 2 of them ended up being. And actually, even the third one kind of ended up being as well, even though we went far away for it. But because I had that idea in my head, it was like, oh, okay, like this is something I'm going to make happen. So like in January, we went to Outpost X. It was something I'd already had on the calendar, and it just made it really easy, and we got to experience a weird little Star Wars thing that we just drove to. It was really fun. We had a great time, and it was just a quick little weekend. Then in May, like while we were on that trip, I said, Josh, what are other things that we can do together? And he was like, we started talking about it. I was like, well, we've got to do close because we got to do weekends. It's too hard with the kids to get away. And so we ended up going to Disneyland in May for a day. Like we came in Friday night and we left on Sunday. And it was so fun. We had the best time. I even recorded quite a bit from it and I left it on Instagram. So if you want to go take a look at it, you go to May 2025. I think I put it in May. It might have came out in June. But the point is, like, they were very little trips, but they were very meaningful trips. And then finally, the last thing, I was like, maybe we'll just go to our Bear Lake house like in September. It's our anniversary. And we just couldn't get away. We were so busy. So we kind of did an overnighter at home, like a staycation. We did it. We stayed in the barn and our son stayed in the house. And it just, I mean, that might have counted, but I changed my mind and was like, let's really go do something. But because we have one kid at home, and he can't stay by himself, we decided to go over Christmas break. And it basically turned into a weekend trip. It was like a Friday to Tuesday kind of situation. So a little bit longer than a weekend. When my college girls were at home and we went to Hawaii. And everything around that trip was based on like, how quick could we get there? How quick could we get back? And what were things that we could do that would be relaxing and meaningful for the two of us? So that, I mean, I think that the reason that worked and that goal worked was, first of all, I was excited about it, right? And second of all, it was measurable. So this is the thing I want to tell you in keeping your goals simple. So you can categorize them. I think that's always a good thing. Or if you only have a few goals, then you don't need to categorize them, right? But make them measurable. So my goal was to go on 3 trips with my husband in 2025. Okay. So it set the parameters. It was going to be during 2025. It set a number, and the number was 3. And I knew exactly what we were going to do. It was going to be trips. And even though it did feel slightly daunting, even though I have older kids, it still felt daunting because I was like, I don't know if I can get this all in. Right. So, what I would tell you is, whatever goals you decide you're going to make this year, make sure that they are measurable. I like numbers, like you can see like the number 3 in my goals, because the more I see numbers, the more I think, okay, how can I get myself to do this actual thing? So that's it. My hope is that that you set goals that make a lot of sense to you, that you make them measurable. Maybe you break them out by categories. And I am going to give you this one last thing. And it depends on your personality whether this is going to work for you or not. But I've talked about it in the past. So if you've been listening to this podcast for years now, you might have heard me talk about this. But I think that it will kind of help you see how I feel about goals. So if you take 2 people and one of them makes 5 goals, and they set those 5 goals and they do all 5 during the year, they're going to feel very successful, right? Because they did 100% of their goals. Now let's take a second person, and this second person makes 50 goals. These 50 goals are crazy and outlandish, and some of them are easy and some of them are hard, but they finish only, let's say, 25 of the 50, okay? So they have failed 50%. They have won 50% of the time because they had 50 goals. Who is more successful? The person who made 5 goals and made 100% of their goals happen, or the person who made 50 goals and only made 50% of their goals happen? And this is where it gets really interesting, because I think some of us feel like we're failures because we didn't finish everything we set out to do. But you were someone who put down 50 goals, not 5. And so what I would suggest to you is this: write down everything you really want to do. Write it all down. Maybe some of it doesn't happen this year and it gets streamlined into the next year. But you're going to probably be far more successful than the person who was like, well, I'm just going to do these 5 things and that's it. And yay, I'm a big winner, right? If you're a personality that's going to feel like you're a loser because you only finished 50%, don't do this little trick. But I find that volume on every level, volume in our design work, volume in our priorities, like, what we're doing with our day, volume in how we decide we're going to do things, that's actually how we win. That's how we get to the next level. And so volume of goals. Now, don't make 50 goals just for the sake of it, right? I actually rarely have 50. 50 is way too many for me. But I will usually have, 15 or 20 that I really want to do. And oftentimes I only get 5 to 10 of them done. But it's almost like it started something in my brain that made me go, hey, like, that's something I really want. And maybe it's going to fall into next year or this year. We're going to see if I can make it happen. that's a really amazing and really beautiful thing. So don't feel like your goals are like you have to be 100% perfect. Once again, perfectionism. Go read my book, The Intentional Design Year, if you have a perfectionism issue. I don't think that making a whole bunch of goals and not finishing them makes you a bad person. I think sometimes the internet and social media tells you that it does. I'm going to tell you it doesn't. It makes you someone who's a dreamer, who's thinking about the big things in their life. And sometimes we need to have those thoughts before we can move forward. So hopefully this helps you. I can't wait to see what you accomplish this year. I can't wait to see what I accomplish this year. This is kind of a weird year for me. And it's because it's a building year and because of even my one word and what we're doing. So I just think this is going to be an interesting year for me as I kind of move forward and kind of play some of the waiting games that I have to play based on the way my businesses are structured. So kind of fun, also interesting, and can't wait to see what this year unfolds for me and for you. Want to hang out more? Go to designsuitecourses.com/free to get our weekly freebies and patterns, die cut files, and more. Can't wait to see you there.